As part of a volunteer program that I took back in 2009, I had an opportunity to experience a wide variety of different things. I got to visit a variety of museums while I was traveling. I got the opportunity to be planting trees at a local nature center, among a slew of other things during the course of 9 months. But the event that I really want to be focusing on for this particular video is one where I had the opportunity to participate in a meditation session with a trained coach. And boy, was that an experience for me. What turned into a guided meditation became a power nap for me. Refreshing, but not exactly what the session was entailing. Now, this isn't to bash or criticize meditation at all. There are dozens of studies online that suggest that meditation is very effective, and I also am an advocate for meditation because naps are really good, and also just in general, I'm not one to refute the studies that a lot of people have done. However, throughout the years of looking into self-help and how mindfulness is just broadly presented, there are some things that I do take issue with and that I do refute. In particular, how mindfulness as a whole is presented to those dealing with trauma and emotional hardships. Because despite meditation being thoroughly researched, it does have some limitations to it. And like so many other techniques, as well as self-help gurus' aspirations to constantly be growing, many believe that these techniques as a whole are panaceas or even replacements to genuine care, and that is pretty concerning. So, I want to be taking some time to be talking about mindfulness and how, despite all of its benefits and studies and research that is put into it, it isn't as helpful as those dealing with actual trauma. One of the biggest issues with the self-help industry as a whole is how cult-like it can be. When talking about rich self-help gurus, they make grand entrances and have a vast amount of wealth that has been enriched off of their followers. In return, the followers themselves get some pretty speeches, access to various products that the self-help guru is promoting, as well as just the gloriousness of their advice as well as motivation. But all in all, the perks tend to keep you at arm's length. It feels like the only real way that you're going to be getting access to the really most helpful stuff is if you're spending thousands of dollars to try to get into the inner circle of the self-help guru. And how that pertains to mindfulness is that mindfulness presentations are very similar to this in nature, in that they make these various wild claims similar to televangelists, and they try to hype you up and motivate you in a similar manner. Years ago, televangelists took the world by storm with claims that their chants could cure cancers or complex diseases like lupus. They convinced people that if they donated enough money, that they would reap benefits later on in life, and when they get sent to heaven. Mindfulness has a similar vibe to that in some extreme cases with people who practice Reiki, like John Amaral, claiming his technique can even cure breast cancer. Similarly, people are also convinced that crystals can perform miracles and are magical themselves, and that you need to have specific rituals in order to heal from them or get like the benefits from them. I get that they're pretty, but it's bizarre to me that some people are convinced that you have to charge them and you have to do these kinds of rituals in order to get the benefits from it. It's just weird.
That's suspicious. That's weird.
At the end of the day, seeking mindfulness as a way to overcome trauma doesn't really feel like it would be suitable in this instance. It feels like the strategy is more of preying on the insecurities and vulnerabilities of individuals who do struggle with trauma or emotional hardship or other emotional issues. The other issue at work is the complete lack of experience with dealing with trauma in the first place that these gurus have. Like a lot of self-help gurus out there, many will make stretches of their own expertise. Some are fully convinced that they're just as good, if not more qualified, than psychologists. In the case of mindfulness, practices like Reiki have certificates that you can just earn, similar to self-help. But similar to self-help, a lot of those certificates are absolutely meaningless.
Congratulations, sir!
What do I win?
Nothing! Now get out!
When the whole industry doesn't expect people to be having any of those kinds of things. Again, self-help is just a very low entry industry to enter into. You don't need a whole lot of experience aside from just being able to talk and motivate people. All of this really creates a barrier to genuine care for people, as they're putting their trust into these individuals that are able to just persuade people to trust them on these various techniques rather than to seek out genuine help. And sure, some of these particular gurus that manage to convince you may have some empathy and are trying to help in a more direct manner, but you would be getting way more out of it if you were actually speaking to a therapist or a trained professional or someone that has spent a lot of time studying psychology, rather than trusting someone like an energy healer or a Reiki instructor or even a self-help guru that's convincing you that they are more qualified and they know more than a psychologist or a therapist. All of that becomes painfully obvious when someone like me understands these techniques have limitations that many of these individuals simply ignore. Because mindfulness is useful, but only up to a certain point, as I've been stressing in this video. In the case of trauma, mindfulness practices can actually backfire and make trauma even worse. In cases of PTSD or severe depression, mindfulness can actually be effective as telling someone to just calm down when they're in the middle of a mental breakdown. If you've ever tried to do that, that's not going to work.
This is the worst!
And you're better off saying nothing at all than to say those particular words. This problem has always been around a lot in self-help, as the industry's take on various emotions have always been bad emotions are bad, and we should always be seeking positive emotions and good vibes in our lives at all possible times.
Life is good, but it can be better.
It's a sentiment that I've said in the past feels nice, but it isn't practical given that the way the world is going right now and how it's been for the past little while, or even long while. This is beyond the fact that we should all be experiencing all kinds of different emotions, as it ultimately helps us process them and handle them in so much healthier ways than how we're dealing with things right now. Despite all of my gripes and concerns about mindfulness, am I saying that we shouldn't be practicing mindfulness at all, or that it's just a big waste of time or a huge trap? No. Not at all. But the important thing to be keeping in mind about mindfulness is that it shouldn't just be the single strategy that you use to overcome trauma or any kind of emotions, strong emotions that you're experiencing. It shouldn't be your sole solution to this problem. My experience with the meditation circle that I participated in is a natural reaction for someone that is new to meditation and those kinds of sessions. But it was still a really good way to unwind, to process emotions, and later on I found some value in doing those things on occasion throughout the various points in my life. For those of us who aren't in serious need of help, meditation is one form of mindfulness that can be very helpful for us for the variety of reasons that science has told us. Yes, meditation is very helpful. But the important thing to be keeping in mind about all these limitations and these problems, and what I'm hopefully conveying in this video, is that mindfulness as a whole shouldn't just be a catch-all strategy for us to get through all the emotional mess and fix our lives mental health-wise. It's a band-aid solution to this issue, and you're better off looking for more things and more direct solutions. And if you are in a dark place and you need to and you want to be getting better, then it's better off seeking a therapist or a psychologist and just talking to them about that, rather than trying to practice mindfulness as it's more of a home remedy. It's a fix-me-up. And that's the important thing to be keeping in mind. Thank you guys so much for watching the entirety of this video. And don't forget to go and leave a like on this video and also subscribe to this channel for more content in the future.